Good morning, Predicted Trades family. Sorry for that delay. Was trying to get this toss rebooted so that it's not so slow. And at least looking a little bit better now. So a quick review. Overnight, we had a little gap up, and we bounced up to test basically 39.75-ish, our open range sell zone. And from there, last night, we sold back down to our destination buy zone and tagged that 3,900. And early morning, a little after 5 a.m., we fought right back up to basically where we were on Friday, near that 39.50. We definitely want to keep an eye on Friday's lows, as we'll be opening a little bit above them, and we'll likely dip down to test them to see if we can hold above that 39.30. We start to lose that 39.30, then we're going to come down to test these overnight lows back down near 3,900. Let's go to our normal settings. I was just kind of showing on the 1 minute chart how the beast levels help us overnight when we're trading futures. We always, when we hit that open range sell zone, we take shots shorting. We get near that open range buy zone, we'll attempt longs or keep riding the short down. But really gives a great roadmap for us every day. Oh, come on, Toss. This is why I restarted you. You're being a little too slow loading up these charts. So as you can see, this little zone that I have marked around 38.85 up to 39.05 gave us some good support last week. We slipped under it just a little, a couple of times, but then we held, and we're back to try to hold. Only point that out because that same zone of support bounced us pre-market. And like I said, if we lose Friday's cash session low around that 39.30, then we do want to target down to that overnight low and back to this zone for another test. We start to give out this zone, we'll dive down into this daily squeeze bottom in last week's lows. Last week's lows from Monday. Let's take a quick look at our economic calendar. Alright, Monday, March 20th. We have pretty much nothing on the economic calendar. Tuesday we have some home sales at 10 a.m. And Wednesday the big one is going to be FOMC and Powell talking at 2:30. This is the big one that the market could wait and kind of chop Monday and Tuesday going into FOMC. We could also see a nice little push into FOMC, and then it'll be what is the rate hike going to look like? Are they going to address this issue in the financial sector? In the speech that Powell gives. So we'll have to see how Wednesday goes. Thursday we have our jobless claims as always, some more home sales, and Friday we have durable goods and some PMI data. Next week looks like we have some retail data, home sales. We have GDP next Thursday with our jobless claims. That'll be interesting. And then we have PCE next Friday. to round out the end of March. So overall, where can we go today? On any dips, looking for that Friday low to hold around 39.30 to give us a bounce up to try to get through Friday's highs and overnight highs that got up above 4,000. If we can't hold that 39.30, we're trying to establish higher lows here to push higher. If we can't hold that 39.30, we want to target down to the overnight lows near 3,900. And should 3,900 give out, then we want to target back to last week's lows, which would be down to like 3,970 and 3,940. But if we can hold up and try to start pushing, looking for us to fight back to where we were struggling on Friday, back to that 3,960, then up to that 3,970, 3,980, where the daily 21 sits, right at 3,980. And if we can push past that, then looking to get up to 4,000 and 40.20, where the daily 50 sits at the top of our 4-hour squeeze. So we got upside targets, we've got downside targets. And watch that Friday low. It's going to be a pretty critical point today to either hold it and keep pushing up, or to lose it and head back to the lows of last week. On to NQ. There we go, now we're loading. So NQ made a great push up, got back above that 12,500. And yeah, it's pretty much, can we hold 12,500 and 12,550, kind of near Friday's lows. As long as we can hold there in the bottom of this 1-hour squeeze, looking for NQ to try to fight back up to that 12,700, 12,800, where we topped out on Friday. And if we can keep going up to 12,900, 13,000 up in the top of this daily squeeze. But if we start to lose at 12,500, 12,450, where the daily 8 sits, then we're likely coming down to 12,300, where the daily 21 sits, 250, where the daily 15 sits, and 12,100, where the daily 50 sits. The daily 200 at 950, just below 12,000. So we've got a ton of daily moving averages below us, liquidity targets, so that if we do start to give out, we have a good eye where they're trying to take it, a good idea where they're trying to take it. So let's see if we can hold above 500, 550 today and try to push up to that 12,800. Moving on, ready. Ready, a little weaker as far as the sectors have been going. But we can see that this 1730 to 1740 has been giving us support, and we've bounced every time that we got to it. In pre-market, we're trying to hold it yet again. We did set a new low past last week and the previous weeks this morning on Ready. So Ready's going to be kind of an early indicator. We need it to hold up, to not retest that new low down near 1700. Want to see it try to hold 1730 and start that pump back to 1760 where it topped out on Friday, and then try to fight up to that 1780, 1800. But if we lose that 1730, likely coming to test 1710, 1700, which is going to be a big key level of support. So Ready could be an early indicator for how this week will start and run into FOMC. If we see Ready start to get through this downtrend, then it's a play up to these recent highs to try to break above them. and, reverse trend. So let's see if we can get above 1750 early and hold it on any retests. That will show us that Ruddy is strong and we could see a good push in the market. But if we can't hold 1750 and we keep slipping back down to test 1730, we could give out to come down and hit this 1700. So keep an eye on Ruddy today. That's a good gauge for, are they done beating up small caps and are they ready to start rotating back in and putting risk on? On YM, yeah, it's basically, can we hold above Friday's lows around 31,950? As long as we can hold above 950 early on, looking for us to push back up to 32,200, 32,300 where the daily 8 sits, 32,250 where the daily 200 sits near Friday's overnight highs. But if we can't hold that 31,950, likely coming right back down to test this 31,800 and potentially last week's low near 640. Our pre-market lows already got down near that 640. Apple. Apple doing a good job holding up above this zone. Friday's lows on Apple around 154.30. So let's see if we can hold that 154.30, at the worst 153.85. The bottom of that zone and the 30-minute 1-hour squeeze. So looking for us to hold and push back above 155 up to 156 where we kind of topped out on Friday. And then if we can keep going up to 157 at the top of this daily squeeze, 158, the second Keltner to the upside, and the big target up above, the top of a 2-day squeeze is at 159.5, 160. So that's your upside target if we can get going through last week's high. If we start to lose this zone and 154, 153 and a half-ish, then we want to target back to 153 where the daily 8 sits, 152, 150, 175 where that pre-market low wick hit, and 151 where the daily 21, daily 15 sit. Amazon made a great push up on Thursday to 100, and basically still kind of flagging here. So it's all about, can we hold Friday's lows around 97.5 on any dips? If we start to lose that, likely coming back to 96 where the daily 8, daily 50 sit, 95.5 where the daily 21 sits. But if we can hold up above Friday's lows, then it's basically trying to get through 99 up to 100, up to 101 where we topped out on Thursday, and maybe beyond. Moving on to Google. Made a great run off of that 89 zone once it tapped it on Monday. Just kept trudging higher back to the daily 200. Let's see, on Google, it's all about, can we hold 99? Obviously, if we dip to 99, that's below Friday's cash session lows and down near its pre-market lows. But as long as we can hold 99 and stay above 100, looking for Google to fight through 101, 102 where the daily 200 sits, up to 103. Almost got there on Friday, but that's the next big key level. Past 103, there's 105 and 107.5. But Google is up near its second Keltner, third Keltner near that 104. And can it push past third Keltner? Yes. if there's strong interest and rotation into Google and XLC. Meta also had a strong push last week from 175 all the way up to 205 before taking a break and coming back. This morning it's all about, can we hold that pre-market low of 194 and a half. Little 50-point zone of support on Meta. As long as we can hold there, it's a play to try to get back up to 198, 200, maybe even up to that 205 where we topped out last week. We start to lose that 194. We want to target back to 192 where the daily 8 sits, 190 where that first Keltner to the upside sits. If we give out 190, we want to target back to that 183, 184, 183 where the daily 21 sits. Microsoft. Also, very strong push last week. Monday held 245 at the low and took off up to 283 at the high. Overall, want to see us try to hold 275, 276 down at the bottom of this 1 hour squeeze. As long as we can continue to hold above 275 to 276, you can play it up to 280, 283, 285, 290. But if we start to lose 275 and fire this 1 hour squeeze down, we want to target back to 270, 266, which was kind of the resistance Wednesday before breaking out on Thursday. Netflix. As you can see on Thursday, we made it back to that daily 21, and now we've rejected and fallen back down. It's all about, can we hold 300? It's Friday's low. We didn't quite get there pre-market. As long as we can stay above 300, hit to play back up to that key 306, 307 zone. And if we can clear that up to 310, 314, back to the daily 21 and where we topped out last week. We start to lose 300, it's a play down to 295, 292 where the first Keltner sits, kind of near the base of last week's lows. And then if we lose 290, it would be 285, which was last week's low, 280 where the second Keltner, the downside, sits. Nvidia, chips. Chips were very strong last week in that drive up. You know, Monday got down to 223. It got up to 264 at the highs. This morning, looking for us to try to hold 254, 255. Those overnight lows. As long as we can try to hold that to play back up to this 259 where we kind of topped out pre-market today. 260. And Friday's higher on 264. 265 if we can keep pushing up to 270. But we are up near our third Keltner. If we start to lose that 254, you want to play it back down to 250. And then 245 where the daily 8 and first Keltner sit. It's also the resistance that Nvidia kept rejecting before finally getting through last week, late. Yeah, let's see if we can hold that 254. If not, it's down to 250, 245. QQQ. On QQQ, we want to watch Friday's low around 303.5. If we can hold that early and not get down to test that pre-market low near 301.5. If we can hold 303.5, we could get a nice push back up to test the highs from Friday and overnight up to 306, 307-ish. And if we can keep going up to 308, 309, Friday's high, 309.5 a key level, and 311.5. But if we can't hold that 303.5, come down to test pre-market low 301.5, and then back to 300 where the daily 8 sits, 297.5 where the daily 21 sits. Moving on to SPY. So on SPY, this 388.5, very key. It was kind of the lows on Friday. We got below it pre-market. Now we're above it. Can we hold that 388.5? If we can, looking to push up through 391 pre-market highs, 392.5, kind of the overnight highs, and where the daily 200 daily 8 sit. And if we can clear 392.5, 393.5, then it's a play back up to 395 where the daily 15 sits, 395.8 where the daily 21 sits. But if we lose this 388.5, likely coming down to test the pre-market lows around 386, 385. And if that can't hold, then it's back down to the lows from last week, 384, and this zone at 381.5, 380. Tesla. Well, not as big of a push as some of the names in tech last week, but made it from that 164, the daily, this is zone at 166, 167.5, and the daily 50, which was right at that zone, it held, made it up to about that 185 a few times before coming back. So today, it's all about that pre-market low, 176.5, Friday's low around 177.5. So can that 1 point zone hold us? If so, looking for us to fight back up above 180. 182 where the daily 8 sits, 185 where the daily 21 sits, and where we were topping out last week. And then a play up to 190. But if we start to lose that 175.5, 176.5, what was it? Yeah, if we start to lose that 176.5, that pre-market low, then it's a play back down to where the daily 50 sits now at 173. And should that give out, then it's down to 170, 167.5 to retest the zone that we bounced at last week. And VIX. So for upside today, I would like to see VIX stay below 27, 27.5. Roll over and start to lose 26 and make its way back to 25, 24.5. 24 is where the daily 200 sits. That daily 200 and daily 8 sitting down below 24, 24.5. For upside in the market today, looking for that VIX to get down there. But if we're going to roll over, retest the overnight lows and back into last week's range, then we'll likely see VIX hold above this 26, push through 27, 27.5 up to 28, and maybe up to our zone around 29, which is kind of where we were topping out last week. We got up a little bit above 30, rejected back down. We got back to 30 and fully reversed. So let's see if they're going to give us a down day today where we retest the lows of last week and overnight. And if that happens, we'll see VIX come up to get yet another rejection near these highs. But if we can hold and push today, then maybe we have done enough testing up here and VIX can head back down. You know, we're basically stuck in a range right now between 22.5 up to 30, 22.5, 30, 22.5, and we got close to 30. So let's see if they want to give it one more tap, or if this was good enough and it can head back down to that 22.5. So that's it for today. Good luck, everybody. Let's keep our expectations in check with FOMC in a couple of days. We might have maybe let's go back to ES. I could see a premise where we do push up Monday, Tuesday to get up to test, this daily 50 at 40.20, which we haven't tested in a couple of weeks. I can see a thesis for a little rally into FOMC. And we'll have to see what kind of a rate hike they give us, if they're going to throw any curveballs, if they're going to mention this financial sector issue that's been going on, and if they're going to start to change their plans for rate hikes based on the financial sector and what's going on. So, good luck today, everybody. Hope this was helpful, and we'll see everybody in the chat.